I am the one.
The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on KYOK are entirely those of the hosts, guests, and callers who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff, or management.
When you walk out on that field today, ask yourself this question. What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We ready! We ready! We ready! We ready! I'm going to the house! I'm going to the house! When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. That's it. It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's hunt now. Let's hunt now. Let's go. Let's hunt. We ready? I'm going to the house. I'm going to the house. We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this, how like we the Miami Heat of football. Yeah. The bottom line is you got to buckle up the chin straps. It's embarrassing. Yeah. Don't disrespect the game like that. There's too much crying from him. He's a man. They can be a hit just like us. He's a man. You already make the big money. He's a man. I'm proud when you step on the field, man. That's war I did. When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. Oh, my bad. Your bad don't work in my world. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We ready? I'm going to the house. I'm going to the house. It's a wrap. Game over.
No, game is not over. It's just getting started right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. It is our Team Texas Tuesday. Got a very special guest going to be joining me today. A lot we want to talk about going on here in the state of Texas. That's none other than I am Valencia King. Going to be joining us today from the show The Dialogue on IGTV. I love it. She'll be joining us in just a second. So got a little Texas sports going on last night. The Astros finally played a team that was not themselves. They played the Kansas City Royals up in Kansas City. And y'all know anytime I say Kansas City, I say defending Super Bowl champs, and I say the best barbecue in the United States of America. Don't at me, it's already been proven. If you don't know, you just don't know. If you're unfortunate, what's up, Anthony Rogers? How you doing, sir? How you doing? If you're unfortunate enough to not know that the barbecue in Kansas City is better than Texas, better than Alabama, better than Mississippi, you just don't know. It's not your fault, but you just don't know. Trust me, I do. Best barbecue around. Best barbecue around. Ever. It's no arguing it. I'm sorry. Memphis it's just not. It's not Memphis, not St. Louis. It's Kansas City. It's Kansas. You can get better barbecue at a gas station in Kansas City than you can at a barbecue restaurant anywhere else. It's just proven true. I keep trying to tell y'all won't listen to me. And then one day you'll get some Kansas City barbecue in your mouth and you'll be like, oh my God. Yeah. And then you'll be wondering where I am then. And I'll just, hey, what can I say? CJ lives up in Memphis. She thinks Memphis barbecue's the best. She don't know. It's not her fault. It's just the way it is. It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the Astros got them some good barbecue and they played some good baseball last night. They beat Kansas City 6-3. They got home runs from Josh Reddick and catcher Martin Maldonado. Lance McCullers Jr. making his first pitching and well, since spring training, but before that, in a long time, he only gave up 1 run on 4 hits, 6 strikeouts in 5 innings. Same 2 teams are going to get it started about 1:05. So we'll give you live in-game updates before I get off at 2. Let's see. Donna Coleman-Holman said, what? KC put Mahomes sweet in their sauce. Sugar is addictive. Donna, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Best barbecue, best quarterback, best team. I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, Houston, you already know you don't have the best barbecue. You don't have the best team. You don't have the best head coach. You got a really good quarterback, a really good quarterback. You got a really good offensive tackle. Trying to see what else you got. You got a really good, strong safety, Justin Reed. Everybody else, everything else is just barbecue. It's just barbecue. Everything else. I mean, if you had to rate the Texans like they were a restaurant, would they be 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, or you go in at your own risk? If you had to rate the Texans, or better yet, if you had to rate your favorite football team as if they were a restaurant, would they be a 5-star, the best, 4-star, pretty doggone good, 3-star, 2-star, they're not good, but I had to eat something, and 1-star is I'll get a bowl of cereal when I get home. That's how I rate restaurants. I've always said I want to do a restaurant rating show because I love food. And, before I became a pescatarian, I used to eat, bro. I used to eat. You couldn't miss me on anything. I don't even need to know what it is. I would try it. When I went to Kenya, Rwanda, Australia, when I went to New Zealand, I ate stuff I didn't know what it was. I mean, it's my job. You don't go all the way out of the country and get squeamish on what you're going to eat. Valencia, I mean, I want to one day do a restaurant show where I rate restaurants. You know what I'm saying? Where if it's a 5-star, it's all that. If it's a 4-star, it's it's worth you dropping in. 3-star, 2-star, 2-star is go in at your own risk. 1-star, stay away from that. Get a bowl of cereal at home. I said 1-star is get a bowl of cereal when you get home. We got technical difficulties. You look great, but you sound still no. Good lip movement. I got that. She's gonna fix it, y'all. She's gonna fix it.
How does this sound?
That sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
My earphones went out. I'm gonna try a second pair.
Look, at least you got a second pair. I can't even find the only pair. I don't even know where they are.
Okay, let's see if this one works. How does this sound?
Yeah, that's good too.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So we're talking about the Astros got a chance to play a team that was not the Astros. They were up in Kansas City, and I can't say the name Kansas City unless I disclose that they have the best barbecue in the United States of America, bar none. Don't at me. It's already been proven. And then I broke it down for the folks because, I like to break it down. I'm extremely educated. You see, that means translation, these letters on my chest, it means I'm extremely pretty and educated.
Come on, say that.
Yeah. So if folks don't know, if all they've had is barbecue in Addison, all they had is barbecue in DeSoto, they don't know that it's better barbecue in Kansas City. They just don't know. It's not their fault, but I've been there. I can tell them I've been to the promised land. I've seen the promised land. I looked over the mountain, and what did I see? I saw the promised land. Kansas City got the best barbecue. And
it's kind of like, even though you can tell someone that, it's like, what is the old saying? You can teach someone how to fish, but you can't make them go fishing. I probably said it wrong, but you know what I'm saying. Like
old school, you can lead them to the water, but you can't make them drink.
There it is.
Some folks will fight you to the death over something that they don't know if it's a fact or not. I've had barbecue in almost all 50. I've had barbecue at almost all 50. And I can tell you, Kansas City barbecue is all that, bar none, don't at me. So I'm hoping the Astros, when they got to town, not only did they beat the Royals, they swung by Gates or Jack Stack and got them some barbecue.
Listen, that's the least they could have done, right? You know, I mean, you might as well just go out on an even higher note, right?
You know what I'm saying? You're already on the Rona streets. You might as well get good barbecue while you're out there. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So here was the question that came before you came on. I know you're more basketball, but if you had to rate your favorite football team as if it was a restaurant, 5-star the best, 4-star, it's pretty doggone good. It's, you know, you need to check it out. 3-star, it's all right. If you're over there, get some. 2-star, you know, I got to eat something. And 1-star, I'll just get a bowl of cereal when I get home.
So I don't really have a favorite football team, so I'll just go with my Pops, you know, Cleveland Stand Up. And for them, I would say about a solid 3 stars, because it's kind of like, you know, the guy that goes to the barbershop but doesn't get a haircut, but you just come for the fellowship. It's a great community.
I'm mad that you know that some of us do that.
Oh, yes. I'm aware.
Valencia King gives her dad's favorite team, the Cleveland Browns, a solid 3 stars. I was going to go 2, but you know what? They do have a lot of possibilities. They got a lot of possibilities. Depending upon who's cooking, it's good food. When the other people in there cooking, it ain't so good. So that's a solid 3. That's a solid.
And they're loyal, very much so, returning customers.
Oh my God.
You know, so that's why they're going to stay in business.
You know, it's that neighborhood restaurant that, you know, again, but we gotta go. You know, I'll meet you over at the Dog Pound. That's
right.
Over at the Dog Pound. So that's pretty good. Now, if you had to do your favorite basketball team.
Okay, my favorite basketball team, and I always have to say this disclaimer, because I was a Golden State fan back when Stephen Curry and Monte Ellis were still battling to see whose team it was. Okay. Back when Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson did the We Believe, like I was a fan then.
Okay.
So I just have to say that disclaimer.
Yeah, you
started.
Right.
And for them, I would say overall, 4 stars, 4.5. Okay. Because there's still definitely room for improvement. Obviously, we know this season was definitely a rebuilding season. So yeah, but I think overall, because even before they actually started winning, they still had that We Believe mindset. Right. You know, we know guys like a Steven Jackson and a Matt Barnes, like we remember that. We remember that upset. We remember how intense it was. And their crowd base, another fan base that has always been around.
That's true. A lot of folks don't remember Tim Hardaway, Chris Mullins, Mitch Richmond, TMC. Most folks don't remember them. But let me tell you, Golden State has been legit for a minute. Golden State has been, you know, they drop off like some teams do, but you know, they've been around. They had some chips before, at least a chip before.
Right.
Them, you know, brought a couple in. So, and I all joking aside, let Steph get healthy, let Clay get healthy, let Draymond get back in his flow, not trying to appease other players on the team, and let them just do their thing. Baby, they can be as dangerous as anybody out there. So I'll go with you on that. That is a solid 4. I'll give you that.
Yeah, absolutely. And during their downtime and rebuilding phase, whoever wants it needs to step up, because they are definitely going to come back strong.
If you don't get it now, you might not get it later. So
exactly, because once, like you said earlier, with the promised land, once you've been there, you know the route to get back.
Let me tell you, I tell people, listen, I haven't always been saved. That ain't my story. You know how folks say, oh, I was saved when I was 2 minutes old. Okay, I ain't always been saved. I know what's on the other side of my life, and I'm not going back to that. I'm going to stick right here. Valencia King, I am Valencia King, joining us here on Team Texas Tuesday. She is the host of a phenomenal show on IGTV. I absolutely love it. The Dialogue. And man, I be tuned in, Doc. I love what you're doing. You've been doing a series of basically about fathers and men. I love that. Where'd you get that concept from?
Mrs. SWK. Mom, the producer, absolutely was the woman behind the thought and the process of it. Obviously, I appreciate my father and just fathers in general, but she definitely brought that idea and saying, you know, why not just make this a long run thing and just continue to highlight Black fathers and just Black men doing incredible things, not just in our community, but beyond as well. So during our first week, we had Anthony Morrow, who's a 14-year NBA veteran, and he's also an activist in his community of West Charlotte, North Carolina. I got to make sure I put the respect on it.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes. Yeah, we had Coach Daryl Armstrong, assistant coach for the Dallas Mavericks. We had Antonius Cleveland, who Antonius Cleveland is currently on the Dallas Mavericks, and so he and Daryl Armstrong are actually in the NBA bubble right now with the Mavs. And then we also had Glenn Robinson III, who's with the Philadelphia 76ers, and he's also in the bubble. Yeah, super positive guy. And so those are just a few of the fathers that we highlighted during our first week, and of course my dad. And then the second week we did it was a little bit more of a hometown hero. So I had a lot of my peers and just dads that I know that are, in that millennial space and that are just out there, raising great kids.
That's what I loved about it, because I've been checking it out, and I love that you have young brothers that most folks look at and try and feel some kind of way, and these men are trying to get it in for their children and for their communities and what they're about. And their passion, man, I'm serious. My hair standing up on my arm. Their passion just it ignited me. It's a lot of young men out there that are a lot more serious and a lot more real about this than folks think that they are. Don't judge the books by their covers.
Oh, absolutely. And we kind of talked about that throughout the weeks, because some fathers are co-parenting, some fathers are single fathers that we had on the show. Some fathers are adopted fathers. So, there's just those different varieties and different layers of the fatherhood journey in itself. And so we kind of talked about how either they were raised that kind of shaped them to how they fatherhood now, or how they weren't raised, right, and how, that shaped their mindset on fatherhood. So it was a lot of great conversations, and all of them right now are currently still on my Instagram, my IGTV, which is @IamValenciaKing. There's a full series called The Dialogue, and you can watch them all there. It's pretty powerful stuff.
Girl, I'm trying to tell you, I love it. I absolutely love it. And I shouldn't be surprised with the combination of you, your mom, and your dad. I already knew greatness was going to come out of it, but it's significant. It's significant. If y'all are not following Valencia King on Instagram, I am Valencia King. Follow her, get on her page, and go down that series. You'll be blessed by it all. We got a running joke in my church that you got Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
You got New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do Valentine's Day, because you got to leave the country. You don't do Valentine's Day. Everything after that is Mother's Day. Everything after that is Mother's Day. Right up to Thanksgiving. And then we go back into Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day, and everything after that is Mother's Day. Father's Day is like about 5 minutes long.
Yeah, and some might even say you gave it too much with 5 minutes. I mean, I definitely understand where that narrative comes from, because unfortunately it is very much true, and it's not just within our own community, it's just within America. I would say the emphasis, the advertising dollars, the marketing dollars, it doesn't go as hard on Father's Day as they do on Mother's Day. And so even though we can say, I understand why Mother's Day may be quote unquote more important, but equally both parents are needed.
Man, you better say it like you mean it, because that's just the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And the thing about it is, it's like, just because two adults have problems, don't mean that the kids have to have a problem with one of the adults. I tell my friends all the time, my guys, my friends, like, look, bro, listen. Whatever happens between you and her, that's between you and her. Don't let those kids feel that, okay? That's part you, that's part her. Be there for those kids, man. A lot of, and that's something that we kind of pride ourselves on as well, is trying to be the best we can be in every area of our life. We have, a lot of times where we just kind of hold each other accountable and have this real heart-to-heart talk. And a lot of things that been coming up here lately is about our kids and about our community. So I just appreciate you. Your mom tuned in. Shirley Walker King said, sending love to all the fathers of all ages. We will be going back to that concept. Stay tuned. That's phenomenal. That's really phenomenal. And back old school, I would say, I wish that a big network would pick it up. We don't need that no more. Y'all can make the big networks sit there and watch it like everybody else, because it's a phenomenal concept. It really is.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that personally I've been focusing on, because especially during the quarantine, you kind of, and for me, I'll speak for myself as a creative, I was like, okay, quarantine, all right, this is cool, I can stay home. But then it got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm not that I'm tired of being home, but like I kind of miss people, even though I don't really like y'all like that. I kind of miss y'all. Like, and so there's definitely a point for myself. And I shared it with a couple of my friends where I just had to like regroup. And part of that regrouping was, okay, not stressing about my content necessarily doing numbers and just doing it for the sake of the audience that I do have, because I still know that the content that I put out there is for my audience. That it's for me to service the people that serve me.
Yeah.
And so I'm very, getting back to that space where, I'm putting out the content that is going to serve my community as well. But I think it's okay to acknowledge that, especially in the midst of a global pandemic, that we go through things. And so even right now, I think it's important for all of us to connect with people that we are connected to a little bit more, and just checking in with people, because outside of like when we get off of this show, AJ, we can still check in with each other.
Right.
And I think that's a little tangent, but I think that's important for us to always remember, like outside of just social media, checking in with everyone.
I that's so real, because even my boys and I were talking about, and then we got to take a quick break, that it's almost like we feel like we're connected because we're on social media, but every now and then we really need to pick up a phone and let them hear our voice. And now with video technology, whatever, let's see each other so we can look eye to eye. Old folks, you said, I need to lay eyes on you. We can do that. That's meaningful, and that's what counts. So I appreciate what you're doing, Valencia. I mean it. I'm not just saying that because of who you are. I'm saying it because it's phenomenal, and it's needed right now. It's timely. So thank you.
Thank you as well.
All right, we got a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to get into some things going on. There's a big brouhaha going on up there in Dallas. We'll talk about it when we come back, right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM.
You're home. You're a diabetic. You need supplies, but you don't want to visit the pharmacy. What do? Call US Med for home delivery of your supplies. If you have diabetes and you're worried about going to a crowded pharmacy, pick up the phone in the safety and comfort of your home and let US Med deliver them to you with free shipping. And now if you test your blood sugar 4 more times a day and inject insulin 3 or more times a day, you may qualify to get a new continuous glucose monitor at little or no cost, which may eliminate the pain of pricking your fingers and helps you make smarter diabetes decisions. Plus, we'll send you a 90-day supply and bill your insurance company for you. Get some peace of mind. Call US Med today.
800-417-0851. 800-417-0851. That's 800-417-0851.
How'd you like to eliminate your expensive cable bill forever, or get new satellite internet where cable can't go? Well, now you can have affordable satellite internet service for a few dollars a day. All you need is a mini satellite installed, and you can have unlimited internet connections wirelessly in your home or office. And no cable boxes means unlimited connections and no clutter. You can surf the internet or stream any of your favorite television services with no cable. And the best part is, satellite internet service costs only a few dollars a day for your entire home. Yes, fast internet to surf or stream television for a few bucks a day. Call now for free details and learn how to drop your expensive cable bill.
800-712-8044. 800-712-8044. 800-712-8044. That's 800-712-8044.
It's inspiring.
Okay.
It's empowering.
It's life-changing.
It's called to inspire with best-selling author and motivational speaker, Dr. Sylvia Cole. Tune in every Tuesday morning at 11 o'clock here on the legendary KYOK, 1140 AM, 92.3 FM, and KYOK.org.
I'm Ben Tankard, and you are listening to The Lunch Break.
Oh, but Jesus, it is Team Texas Tuesday right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK. I'm AJ Jones. I've got one of the best in the business, bar none, Valencia King. I am Valencia King on the show today. We're getting ready to talk about the Dallas Mavericks and some other stuff, sports related. But before I do, Anthony Rogers says he's giving his Texans 5 stars. Ferdinand gave them 1 star. So that's really how this city is right now. You either love the Texans Oh, you don't care for them at all. There's very little 2, 3, 4s, and it's either 5 or 1. And then somebody tried to come for me about the Kansas City barbecue thing, and they asked me if I had ever had Killian's down in Pearland. Bruh, can I just tell you something? Just because Killian's is good down in Pearland, don't mean it's good outside of Houston. I'm just telling you, it's like, don't get it twisted. I tell singers, just because your mama invites you to sing at her church, don't mean you can go sing at the Coliseum. I'm just saying, you got to understand what that's good over there.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Killian's is good. Just because they wrap around the building, Valencia, they wrap around the building like it's like they giving out gold in the barbecue. I've had it. It's all right.
It's kind of like, when people say just because you were the starter in high school, don't mean you're going to start in college. I mean, what you're doing right now is cute, but like once you upgrade a little bit, I mean, when I talk to the rookies in the NBA, they always say, I ask them, what about the difference is, and they say the difference is everyone's great here. Everybody is a pro here versus college.
I'm just telling you, man. And the higher you go, the better they get. So yeah, it's all right. Killian's will win all the stuff. I don't even think they win the rodeo barbecue cook-off here in Houston. So they good though. Please don't get it twisted. And I'm not rocking with them because they don't advertise. But don't just.
It's okay, because some people down the people who just want to be a hometown hero.
Right.
Like, that's okay. That's an accomplishment.
Right.
But if you want more, then you got to, expand your horizon. But we're not going to knock.
We ain't knocking you.
That, the hometown celebrities, you go and you wear in the city, everybody know you. That's okay.
Look, Doc, what's up, Doc?
You know what it is. That's okay.
But when you go outside the city, folk don't know who Doc is,
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. All right. Thank you, Valencia. He gonna learn today. Valencia, what happened with this thing with Mark Cuban and Ted Cruz? And I think there was a radio announcer involved. Yeah, Mark Davis, I guess he's a local radio announcer, said, "I'm so ready to be in on this year's Mavericks home stretch. So much promise, so much personality. But the minute one player kneels during the anthem, I'm out. Surely at M. Cuban can lead the way for Mavs NBA to do whatever gesture they wish without insulting the nation." Cuban tweeted back, BYE. Bye. And Teddy Dorr decided to get involved in this. Tell us what's happening.
Well, even before Ted Cruz decided to make this his business, when I'm like, you got a whole office you need to worry about, but that's neither here nor there, apparently. Apparently, Teddy. I posted that on my Instagram just to get some feedback from my audience, because my audience knows that, my home team for the NBA is the Dallas Mavericks, because that's where I'm based at. And so I always try to get their input and their feedback, because this is the team I'm bringing them the most content from. And so I posted that, just asking people their thoughts. And before I said that, for my own personal thoughts, I just wrote, whether he means this tweet wholeheartedly or not, I can appreciate the response. And by wholeheartedly, I mean that it doesn't matter whether you're walking, running, or doing a full sprint, you still have to take that first step. And so outside of Mark Cuban, to me, an ally, to be my ally, is to be vocal in your support of Black Lives Matter to those who wish to silence me. And so that, that's just my personal definition of it. So I was asking my followers and my supporters, just what they were thinking. And every single one of them was like, they appreciated Mark saying bye as well. They were like, he could have said a whole lot more. Someone was like, he probably popped his collar when he did it,
That next second, bye.
Exactly. And so just to kind of get to your original question of Ted jumping in the mix, there are better things that he could be doing. There's better legislation he could be working on.
That part.
This
the whole doggone global pandemic that's wrecking the United States of America more than any other country in the world. And you worried about Mark Cuban and the Dallas Mavericks?
Right. Is it because you don't get floor seats, or like what's the real, there's a root issue here that we really need to get to.
Everybody talking about Kanye needs some help. I think Ted Cruz needs some help. But Mark Cuban replied back to Mark Davis, said the national anthem police in this country are out of control. Yeah. If you want to complain to your boss and ask why they don't play the national anthem every day before you start work. Hit the nail on the head. Why are we so worried about what athletes do before they go to work? And in no other profession, including the military, do they play the national anthem before they start their workday?
Yeah, and that's a valid point, and it goes so much beyond sports. Just because, like you're saying, in every other career, they don't ask to do that, but they're worried about it in sports. And I just think about that in the workplace because people are saying, "Oh, these athletes need to go play." Ain't your boss letting you work from home? Aren't you at home tweeting this?
Hello.
Like, what do we think about let's say you work in advertising and sales, and someone wants you to take a pay cut because it's for the betterment of the team. But when athletes, are like, no, I'm not taking a pay cut, then they're like, oh, where's the team morale?
Yeah. Hold on, Valencia. We have a little global pandemic going on. We're going to take 35% of your salary and put it in escrow to offset the losses that we're going to have due to the coronavirus. You signing? Here go your paperwork. You signing?
The crazy thing is, people don't even realize that their companies will do that to them and probably have without a signature. But they still want athletes to be different. Man,
I'm trying to tell you. Every time I pay my bill to the light company, I don't get to tell them I'm holding back 35% until things get better. Every time I pay my phone bill, I don't get to hold any of it back till things get better. I just don't understand this country mentality that everybody in sports has to do one thing. And then as soon as they say something about what they have to do, then we say, oh, but you're getting paid millions of dollars to play a game. Come work down in my industry where you'll have to work like normal folks. And if you didn't have that job, you'd be bagging my groceries. You don't get it all those different ways. I'm sorry. You just don't get it all those different ways. Who is this Mark Davis guy? Who is he?
We talked about hometown people. I don't know this man. I know he's in Dallas. What did Kiki Farm say? Sorry to this man.
We don't know you. If you want to leave during the anthem, we won't notice. We don't know you. We won't even notice. And then, of course, Ted Cruz found his Twitter account, and he says, "Really, NBA is telling everyone who stands for the flag, who honors our cops and our veterans, to tinkle off in Texas, no less. Good luck with that." Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead. All ears.
It might have been before my time. It might have been after my time. When did the flag only become about police officers and veterans?
Well, I could have sworn there that it was supposed to be about everybody. I thought so. But apparently I missed it. And it's not even funny, but it's not surprising, is because when we get into the national anthem, and I feel as though it might be redundant, but still everyone doesn't know this, the national anthem, all them verses, was not for anyone who looks like me. So when we say the anthem reflects everybody, but now you're saying only select people get to be offended. And what drives me up the wall is when those veterans and those police officers say, "I'm not offended." They don't hear any of that.
At all.
There are a gazillion of veterans that say, "I am not offended. This is the reason why I fought, so that people can have the right to do this."
Right.
They don't hear nothing.
And literally many of these people like Ted Cruz, I don't know Mark Davis, so I'll throw his name in there for name's sake. They have never carried a military issue rifle. They've never carried a military issue backpack. They have never done anything other than try to sensationalize the death, the battle, the injury, the whatever of a military person or military group in order to further their point, their agenda, or their political careers. And that in itself is far worse than somebody taking a knee during the national anthem. At least the person kneeling is not exploiting the group that you swear is most represented by the anthem and by the flag. You're just saying it because it will rile up your base and make somebody else look bad.
Absolutely. And what's so telling is that in Ted Cruz's reply to Mark Cuban, the first tweet that you see underneath it is a white male who's saying, "I'm a veteran and I don't find it disrespectful at all." Like that's like that and it's gotten over 200 retweets, and that's the first one, and it'll stay the first one with the more retweets. So that's telling you that you're trying to share this narrative, and boom, right there. No, we're cutting it out.
Well, Ted Cruz then goes on to
oh yeah, they go back and forth.
The part that really got me was when he tried to go on and bring up China, that Mark Cuban needs to speak to China about China. Why I thought we were trying to keep politics out of sports, and for some reason the national anthem is just going to be where it's going to be. But I've heard a couple of politicians here lately come for LeBron James about China, and now Ted Cruz coming for Mark Cuban about China. Huh?
Exactly. And I love, Mark's reply, because I think Ted even doubled back a second time, Mark saying, "I can say that Black Lives Matter." And then he goes on to say, "If you want to know what I think about China, here's all the links of where I've spoken about China. Like, here are my receipts."
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. Again, I just feel like you've got people in positions that don't know what they don't know. Or let me not be minimized. Maybe they do know what they're doing. Maybe they really do know what they're doing, but they just have no shame nowadays in doing it. It's about the troops. That's going to fire somebody up. It's about the police. That's going to fire somebody up. Never mind every other walk of life in the country that's supposedly covered by that same flag and that same anthem. And when you have nowhere to go, bring up China. Because what is America? Yeah. America hates two countries, Russia and China.
That's as the cool kids say, period. That's just that on that. And for me, it's kind of like, I know in this world that I dream doesn't exist, but I'm trying to create it. For all of these people, all of these politicians that have any kind of say so on the military, if they could complete, I don't know, maybe I won't even say 8 weeks. Let's give them a 6-week boot camp.
Yeah.
And see what they think after that. Because as much as we talk about, the journalists in the sports world that can write about all these athletes, and haven't picked up a ping pong, a volleyball, a golf ball. They don't even play chess. They're not a competitive bowler. They don't even skip rocks. They don't do Nathan, not nothing. They don't do Nathan. But they have all these words and vocabulary and energy for these professional athletes. And it's the same to me. Like I would never speak down on the military or speak to things I don't know about.
Right.
I've always been adamant. I'm over 26, so I'm not a dependent anymore. But when I was like, listen, I'm a strong dependent. Okay, my dad did that.
Come on.
But I could depend. And when they sent me the letter at 18, I said, no, thank you. Because I know what I know and I know it's not for me. Right. So I would not criticize something that I'm not even going to be about.
Yep.
But it's so easy for, politicians and even just people that are just, backing all these politicians that maybe even aren't in the political space, but they just back it gung ho. I'm like, you weren't even student council president.
Right. You weren't in ROTC, you weren't in, you barely participated in gym. You had one of those notes that said you didn't have to run the mile. It's like all these different excuses, but you're pro. I like what you're saying. What I'm concerned about is how people are so easily led from one side to the other. I tell my boys all the time, you got to stand for something. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. But don't just stand for anything. Make sure that what you're standing for is right, and make sure that you can support it. You can explain it. You know what you're standing for and why.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was just going to say absolutely. And I know the protests that are still, ongoing, but back when they were initially like starting gung ho, my parents, Vincent and Shirley Walker King, or Vincent and Shirley King, they did one of their Facebook lives for the King and I podcast, and they were talking about, responsibilities when you're going to a protest. And one of their points was to know who is organizing the protest, so you're not walking in blindly.
Right.
And so you know that you're walking in to support the cause that you agree with, and not just because they had a nice flyer.
Yeah.
And that goes with anything, whether like the hill that you're willing to die on, can you at least make sure it's the hill you're willing to die on?
Absolutely. Yeah. My oldest son, we talked about that. You want to make sure if you're going down that hill, you want to be found dead on that hill.
Yeah.
So, your parents are phenomenal. I'm glad that they're bringing you up the right way. But I just don't understand the Ted Cruz's of the world. It's like, dude, you're not even using your real name. So why should we believe anything that comes out of your mouth? Like you said, you got a whole lot to be worried about up in D.C. You got a whole lot to be worried about around the country. Jumping on Mark Cuban about the national anthem and jumping on Mark Cuban about China is just irresponsible. It's reckless in a time where everybody needs to be tempered, mental, and focused.
Absolutely. And because the Dallas Mavericks, the NBA overall is definitely African-American international. That's the two conglomerates. But the Dallas Mavericks, especially, are heavily international.
Right.
So how are you going to try to put just a U.S. bias or a U.S. policy or U.S. opinion on Mark Cuban when, of course, he's going to have different viewpoints? Because look at the makeup of this organization he is over.
Absolutely.
Like he doesn't have the option to be blindsided in that aspect.
Yeah.
So
I got one quick break, and then I want to come back and I want to talk, kind of segue into the football team in Washington and that environment, that culture up there. We'll do that next. Valencia King dropping knowledge, science, and receipts right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. We'll be right back right after this.
It's inspiring. It's empowering.
It's life-changing.
It's called to inspire with best-selling author and motivational speaker, Dr. Sylvia Cole. Tune in every Tuesday morning at 11 o'clock here on the legendary KYOK, 1140 AM, 92.3 FM, and KYOK.org.
Hi, this is TJ from South Park. I listen to the lunch break with AJ Jones on 1140 AM and 92.3 FM.
All right, y'all, we're back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. It's Team Texas Tuesday, and I'm hanging out with one of the best, period, point blank. Oh, yeah, she just happens to be up in the Dallas-Fort Worth, DFW area. It is Valencia King, host of The Dialogue on IGTV. And just rocking with I Am Valencia King on all social media platforms. Valencia, love you. Thank you for making time for me today.
Oh, absolutely. It's without a question. It is absolutely without a question.
We got a comment from PP. PP says, why do they play the national anthem before every sporting event? Even high school and little league, it's a little much. People have been saying that. Mark Cuban even said that if you were serious about honoring the national anthem, you wouldn't play it before every sporting event. During the Olympics, obviously, but Dallas against Houston, what are you playing the national anthem for?
Yeah, I agree. The national anthem, Star Spangled Banner. Like thinking back on it throughout my K through 12 years, knowing what I know now, obviously you can't go back in time. Every single day we had to stand up and say this legendary pledge.
Yeah.
But knowing what I know now, I definitely would have sat down or stood and not said it. And until once I got to Texas, we did the Texas one too.
I know. I was like, what's that? I got to stand for that too. What is that? What is, let me listen to it first.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just crazy. I'm from Ohio by way of Louisiana. What am I saying that for?
Yeah, and same. I came from the East Coast, and I was like, this is what y'all do every day. And so, obviously it was a bit of a culture shock for me, but just, overall, saying the pledge, the national anthem, Star Spangled Banner, all of it. Not that you have to throw it away, but you got to bring it to everything.
Right.
You don't.
Had David Grubb, host of Hard to Paint on, and his daughter was on.
Yes, I saw.
And was talking about at 4th grade. She said, I ain't gonna stand up for this. And teacher telling her, you gotta stand up. She said, no, I don't. I'm good. And sure enough, when she got in trouble about it, David took his big self up to the school. I am glad to know that we are teaching our young people that, to listen to what you're pledging to, pay attention to that. If you subscribe to it, great. If you don't, there's this thing called the First Amendment that allows you to peacefully sit down and mind your own business as opposed to stand up and subscribe to something that you don't agree with. And if we're not going to teach that to our kids early and not allow them to partake in it when they feel passionate about doing that, then take the whole doggone thing out. It can't just be for when the other people want it to be for them.
Oh, you're absolutely right. We need to call it the flexible amendment because they've been the rules all the time. It's absolutely ridiculous that it's a requirement. And I saw a meme, and I had to get my all of my words together because I really want to do like a whole post about it. But I'm like, okay, I don't think I'm ready yet. Let me reel it in first. But the meme simply said, and it's kind of along the same lines. It said, how are you going to make kids go back to school and not require them to wear a mask, but you required the girls in grade school to change their shirt when they wore spaghetti straps? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Spaghetti straps are too much, but wearing a mask, if you're going to make them go back, we can't force that. We can't. No, it's not right.
You have to cut your hair if it's longer than your shoulders, and boys, you can't wear locks.
Yeah,
you have to wear a mask.
All of these other rules that were enforced that definitely had no grounds to stand on. I'll share a quick story. I know when I was in SWK, if you tuned in, I think it was 7th grade or 8th grade. I was Destiny's Child. That was my group. Those are my girls. I had a shirt, and it wasn't even spaghetti strap. It was the 3-finger strap rule, but it said Bootylicious because that was the song, okay? Right. And I got in trouble for that shirt. But the girls could wear Juicy for Juicy Couture sweatpants all on their booty. And the cheerleaders could wear Cheer all on their chest and their booty. And so, Miss SWK came up to the school.
I know what she did.
And all the receipts. All the receipts needed, and it was like they say, case drop, case dismissed.
I bet, yeah.
Because they make up all of these rules, for what works for them.
Right, absolutely.
But the rules were never made to work for me.
Absolutely.
So
there's a show where a brother, and I hate that I don't know his name. I should. Real good brothers going around the country talking about race in America and stuff like that. And in the preview, the guy says, these rules, this system was never built for us, but it's not broken. And I'm like, man, that's deep. That's profound. It's not broken. It's working the way it's supposed to work.
Absolute.
Well, speaking of systems and the way they're working, up in D.C., professional football team, culture of sexual harassment. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. Not 5, not 6, not 7, but 15 women filed charges against various people in the organization for sexual harassment. And you got a lot of folks who have come out and spoken. And one of the reports that I saw was that Dan Snyder more than likely will not be forced to sell the team because he didn't know. Go whichever level. If you want to go journalist, broadcaster first, go. But if you want to go woman, sister, friend of these women, go whichever way you want to go.
I mean, I don't know if it's going which way because I embody all of these things. Yeah. Obviously, I'm a Black woman first. And so for me, I'll say this. It's important to listen to women. It's important to hear women. It's important to receive the information that they're giving you. And that needs to happen more often and continuously more often, because I don't know if it'll ever be enough. And so when we hear stories like that, especially coming off of Dallas Mavericks and their organization, all of the sexual allegations that they went through, and with Mark Cuban, people saying, how could you not know? There are ways for people to not know whether they know or they don't know. Those little things called loopholes are definitely prominent. And I also think about, it's never just one party. Like you said, with the system isn't broken. It's working perfectly the way it was designed to. When it comes to any kind of sexual harassment against women, there's a system in place. There's a checks and balances in order for it to occur. These happenings aren't necessarily random, aren't by chance. That's why you have 15 of them as of right now. like there's a checks and balances, and we can even go to the military.
Right.
And the recent case with Vanessa Guillen, if I'm saying her name incorrectly, my apologies. There's checks and balances. There's ways why she was able to disappear and not be found. And then when they recovered her, they found remains of other people.
Right.
Because there's a system. Oh, this happened, this happened, this happened, this. There's a chain. And so until all of these chains are broken and reconstructed using new material, unfortunately, it's going to keep happening. So that's why we need, and I appreciate it. I can't think of the name, but there's a few NFL players that were tweeting out, if I'm in the locker room with somebody like this, let me know, because I don't know. And I won't, old Valencia would have been like, that's a cop out. How could you not know? But new Valencia is like, I can appreciate you coming forth and saying, no, let me know, because I'm going to do something about it.
You're helping me. I mean, you're helping me. Because, I go back to when the Saints had their situation with the bounties. I don't like gates. Everybody put a gate on everything. They said to that leadership, if you didn't know, you had a responsibility to know. So you're gonna suffer this too. So everybody from Sean Payton to Mickey Loomis to the coach to the defensive coordinator, assistant defense coordinator, they all got suspended. But now all of a sudden, you got Robert Kraft over there in New England with his nasty self. You got the owner of the Indianapolis Colts who had enough drugs in his car and money in his car to put people on the block, but got treated differently. And then you got this going on. And my thought is that you treat everybody like you treated New Orleans back then. I'm sorry, you didn't know, but it happened under your watch, so you got to go sit down for a little while too. But you're helping me with the understanding that there is a system in place that makes not knowing possible. In fact, in politics, they call it plausible deniability. Mr. President, we're not going to tell you what we're doing, and don't ask us what we're doing, because we need you not to know. So when it blows up, you didn't know.
Right.
If that's what's going on up in Washington, they need to tear the whole thing down. They need to tear the whole thing down, because I got to get Sybil Wilkes on here real quick. But when we come back, let's go back to Michigan State and the doctor that did all he did for all those years and nobody knew. We'll be right back with Valencia King. I am Valencia King right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all new 92.3 FM.
To the latest problem on the horizon, a second wave of economic destruction. The federal $600 a week addition to the regular unemployment benefits set to expire at the end of this month. Spelman College and Morehouse College in Atlanta have announced today that students will not be returning to campus for the fall 2020 semester due to the recent spike in COVID-19 cases. It remains unclear if the schools will reopen their campuses for students for the spring 2021 semester. Plans to begin training camps are moving forward despite ongoing negotiations between the NFL and the Players Union to address testing and other health and safety procedures. Under the collective bargaining agreement, the NFL can report and fine players who don't report for training camp. There are at least 3.7 million confirmed cases of coronavirus in this country, and over 140,000 people have died. Please visit SybilWilkes.com to subscribe to my free daily newsletter. Be informed, be empowered.
Hey, what's going on? This is Lecrae, and right now you're listening to The Lunch Break.
All right, y'all, we're back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. I got one of the baddest ones out there. I'm talking about sports. I'm talking about shows. I'm talking about production. I'm talking about you name it. But listen, what all do you do? Just in a nutshell, what all do you do?
Well, darling, let me tell you. Well, first and foremost, I would say I'm a creative. And I know that is quote unquote a trendy word, but I've always just been, I always describe myself as, well, it's just Valencia. This is what I do. Like I get
in there that when you say I'm just,
yeah,
that's a whole.
Yeah, I'll break it down, but I definitely use my name as an adjective. So I'm a journalist.
Okay.
I am a journalist by trade, went to school for it, got student loans in it. I have been over my career, I've been a news anchor for an AM political radio station. I have been a television show host. I sounded better on TV.
I was gonna say you kind of created something. What's that? Go ahead.
Right. We might have did something. So yeah, I have a television show that airs on Uplift TV right now called About and Out with Valencia King, and I have the sports side of me, which is Real Talk Sports. But I will say this: in general, I always tell people that I love to share my story while helping to encourage others to share theirs. Because I started my platform of just Valencia King talking in general because I felt like my peers didn't have a voice. Every time I turned on the news, it was someone my age doing something incredibly wrong. And I was like, but that's not all of us. Okay, like we're out here doing great things. And so I began Real Talk Radio in February of 2011 while I was at UNT going to school, North Texas, go Mean Green. And so that was my real reason for starting it, because I knew that so many of my peers were doing great things, striving for greatness, but no one knew about it because that's not what the media showed you. And so even though that was my initial goal, to get into media, to share other people's stories, that's just kind of what my whole journey has been about. And so whether it's the dialogue, whether it's Real Talk Sports, whether it's Real Talk Radio, whether it's the TV show About and Out with Valencia King, it's always going to be about me sharing other stories, because that's what I'm so passionate about.
You're definitely a storyteller, and you bring it to life. I can see you creating documentaries. I can see you doing, life movies and stuff like that. I mean, I literally do. I can see you really taking what we've seen before and bringing it in a whole nother way than we've ever seen it. And hey, the sky's the limit. So I'm really, really proud of you.
Thank you. I definitely receive it. And when you were talking, this little thing just hit me. So I just want to share, because I know I go through it too. When you have that creative mind and you have so many things you want to do, it's okay to get a little bit overwhelmed. So for anybody out there who may be in that position, because I'm talking to myself, it's okay to get a little bit overwhelmed, but kind of dial back and say, okay, what can I do first? What can I do this time? What can I do next week? And I promise I'm talking to myself too, guys. But when you were talking, I just felt led to share that in case anybody out there who is like overwhelmed because you have so many ideas in your head. It's okay. They're there for a reason, and they don't all have to come out at once.
Let me hit the top of the hour. We're coming right back with more Valencia King.
KYOK, Conroe, the legend continues.
The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on KYOK are entirely those of the host, guests, and callers, who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff, or management.
All right, y'all, we're back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It is our Team Texas Tuesday. And got to shout out to Sydney Brown and the good folks of the Texas Phoenix Fire. They are the 2020 champions of the XFFL. That's the Extreme Female Football League. And she had a good point to our last topic, Valencia. And before we get to it, though, I want to thank you for that last comment, because you just hit me dead in here. Like, there are times when I'm like, oh, man, it's just too much. I don't want to do all that. I just overwhelmed. And you just like... When you said it, I was like, okay, all right, that's normal. I'm all right.
Super normal. Yeah, super normal. And sometimes it's okay to give yourself grace when you are overwhelmed. Just take a nap.
I'm a professional napper, so I'm down with that. I can still nap in the middle of the day and folks won't even know.
Right, that part.
That's what's up. Listen, Sydney Brown said, it's easy to get caught up in emotions and say they all know. But when you are running a company, you select people who you think can do the job. You don't know everything that they do. She brings up a good point. That's why I said, I'm opening my mind to get off of you should have known, and you should be punished as if he knew or not. But the reality is, he might not have known. And okay, don't sell the team, but we got to make some changes.
Definitely make some changes, and maybe this is the part of me that still needs to grow a little bit more within God, but it's okay to be made an example out of, because now the other owners will dig a little bit deeper into theirs, because they're very quick to make an example out of anyone with melanin.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
so okay,
Yep.
I got to grab the air. Okay.
When we think about what happened up at Michigan State with the doctor that molested hundreds of young girls, when you think about what happened up at Ohio State, where a wrestling coach molested hundreds of boys, and these people didn't know. Okay, all right, you didn't know. You didn't know. But guess what? We're going to make some changes. And one of the changes that we're going to make, we're going to put him in jail for the rest of his life. They're still working out at Ohio State. Look, arrest that man. But anyway, but we're also going to change leadership. So they made the president step down, and they put checks and balances in place to make sure that you know even when you don't know. So as soon as you hear a rumor, as soon as you hear a hint, you check into it. You do something about it. And I think that's more than anything what needs to happen in Washington. We can't trust Dan Snyder to create an environment that is not going to be sexually harassing. He just ran an environment that he didn't know was sexually harassing. So why should we trust him to put something in place that's not going to be that? Let these people tear this thing down, build it back up right. And then, if they're going to let you run it, you're going to run it, but you're going to have some folks checking in and see what's going on a regular basis. Absolutely.
There needs to be a complete third party initiative to help with the deconstruction and rebuilding of it. That's without a question, because if you didn't know there was a problem, we're not saying you're not equipped to solve it, but you also didn't know there was a problem.
Yeah.
So you missed something.
Like, how will you know if you don't know there's a problem again?
Exactly. It's simple as that. And like we said, it needs to be deconstructed completely. And I'm thoroughly.
Yeah.
Thoroughly, like when you clean your greens before you cook them.
You better come on here with that. Don't give me no dirty greens. Can I just say this? And Sydney Brown, I know, she and I have talked a little bit about different things, because, sometimes some people that got caught up in the Me Too movement shouldn't have been caught up in the Me Too movement. They got caught up because there was a Me Too movement. You're going to have people that aren't always telling the truth. Mm-hmm. I'm all right with that. We those are more of the exceptions than the rules. So you can put stuff in place to fix that, but make sure you got stuff to handle the majority of what's going on. The NFL don't do women well. They don't do women's issues well. They don't handle domestic violence well. They don't handle stuff like this, sexual harassment well. Anything seemingly relating to women in the league, they don't handle it well. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even talking about employees. I'm talking about wives. I'm talking about girlfriends. I'm talking about all of it. They just don't do women well. Why do they keep trying to handle women's issues? Why don't they outsource that to people who know what they're doing?
Because you're not going to tell me I don't know how to do something I don't know how to do. Who are you? Who are you, AJ, to tell me that I don't know how to do something, even though there's evidence I don't know how to do it? That means nothing. Okay. Your evidence is wrong. Okay. That's exactly what that means. They don't call it a good old boys club for nothing. So, we can't expect people who are not willing to change. That's just that on that. Like, the people always say in, relationships, don't fall in love with the potential, fall in love with the person. Like, no, we can't go, we can't go on what the possibilities are anymore. Either it's changing or it's not. Either you're fixing it or you're not. Either you're vocalizing it or you're not. There's no in between. Like, we're really at a point, at least for me, I'm really at a point where whatever the topic is, there's no time to ride the fence.
Yeah.
You can get some time to do some more research. Mm-hmm. We don't need an answer. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't have time to, maybe. That's just, we're beyond that. We're beyond that.
Yeah. I guess, if you don't want to admit, You don't know how to do it well? Can we at least show you that you don't know how to do it well? I mean, there's several receipts. Like they're recent receipts, they're old receipts. Like we got a lot of receipts that you don't know how to do it well. And instead of making theatrical, emotional statements at press conferences because you're about to lose all your sponsors, that you're bringing in all these women's organizations and they're going to do this and do that. Like, do it for real. Do it because it's right. Do it because it's necessary. Do it because not one woman should have to, be sexually harassed or feel sexually harassed. Whether the owner knew it or not, that doesn't say, oh, well, the owner didn't know, so it's all good. Okay, the owner didn't know. Leave that alone now, and let's deal with, the nutbags who were running around there doing what they were doing.
Absolutely. But AJ, I mean, in October, they're allowed to wear pink cleats, right? What do you mean we don't stand up for women? What do you mean we don't care? We care. We show up. We are there. We donate money in October, okay? Who else donate money in October, okay?
But you're so right. I got this look on my face because, this is why I call you one of the best. You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. And that's the thing. I'm ready to move beyond the theatrics. I'm ready to move beyond the pomp and the circumstances. If pink cleats are not going to stop nasty, sick people in Washington from affecting the lives of 15 plus women, detrimentally, then forget the pink cleats. Don't paint Black Lives Matters on the court. Don't play the Negro national anthem before week 1. Do something that's going to have real impact. Like, come out with a statement. If we find another man or woman or somebody sexually harasses someone in an NFL organization, we're going to do duck, 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 duck. Just like you do when somebody's caught drinking, when somebody's caught taking steroids, when somebody's caught abusing their wives, when somebody's caught doing something that they're not supposed to do on the player side. Do something like that on the ownership leadership side.
Yeah, that's what's needed. But how can we expect them to do that when even the rules that they have in place, that does for domestic violence, for drinking steroids, those are loose. Those rules are loose. Those rules are bendable. They've shown us.
They didn't affect Ben Roethlisberger like they affected somebody else. So
that part.
But you know what? At least put them in there. You just
want to be able to read it
with some tangible.
No, I do know what you mean, and I do understand it. It's unfortunate because I'm not sure where they're going to go from here, and we're just talking about one organization.
I know.
We haven't even expressed the league because the league in itself has some dirt under the rug. The rug don't even lay flat no more. Okay, there's so much dirt underneath it. That's where we're at.
Can I be petty for a second? I'm rare. I'm never petty. So can I be petty for a second?
Bring it on.
If Robert Kraft is nasty outside his house, you don't think he nasty inside his house? Eric was friends with a whole bunch of NFL owners. You don't think he was telling them how nasty he was? Yeah, I made him jump up and down. Look, I can see what they got going on. And there was other owners like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try to do that too. Let me just say this one last thing, I'm gonna leave it alone. But as bad as the Raiders are run, you mean to tell me they got all the sexual harassment and all that kind of stuff right? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna vote on no. I'm gonna just vote on. I'm rarely petty. I'm so rarely petty that I hope nobody judge me or condemn me with it. In fact, let me go religious petty. Ye who is without sin, cast ye the first stoneth.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, listen. Let me play a quick break, and then we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back with a little bit more. Valencia King. I am Valencia King, host of the Dialogue. Joining me on I'm about to call this the Dialogue. Texas Tuesday. If you want to get in, 281-453-1000. That's 281-453-1000. It's the lunch break on the legendary KYOK.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who've helped people that have been injured or wronged. Have you been diagnosed with cancer? Are you one of the millions who have taken Zantac or other generic versions of this popular drug to help treat stomach issues? Then pay close attention to this message. The FDA said it detected low levels of a probable cancer-causing chemical known as NDMA in Zantac and other generic forms of this popular drug. They've banned sales and even removed it from the market. If you've been diagnosed with cancer and you've taken Zantac or a generic equivalent, call the legal helpline now. You could receive a free cash award and have your medical expenses covered. And there's no upfront cost to you. They only get paid if you win. So please call now. 800-251-7816. 800-251-7816. 800-251-7816. That's it. 251-7816.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone,
thank you, same.
They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 800-961-2730. 800-961-2730. That's 800-961-2730.
I'm Linda J. We all know Election Day is just around the corner. We want change. We need change. We can be the change. Exercise your right for change on Election Day. Don't talk about it. Let's be about it. So let's roll to the polls in record numbers and we can make that change. This message is approved by KYOK 1140 AM, 92.3 FM, and KYOKradio.org.
All right, one more.
Okay.
And I think I just messed it up.
Getting your to-do list done.
Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you.
KYOK 1140 and 92.3.
Now, back to the lunch break.
All right, y'all, we're back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. It is our Team Texas Tuesday, having a very open and frank discussion with Valencia King, better known as I Am Valencia King on all social media platforms. She does a number of things, and y'all need to follow her so y'all can be down with what she got going on. We're talking about the situation up in Washington. Valencia, what do you think is going to happen? I mean, realistically, what do you think is going to happen? Because everybody's focused on the name change, but that's the least important thing right now.
No, honestly, I don't know who Washington's PR people is, but now is when you need to be releasing the name change and call it the Washington Women Warriors. I don't know.
Something like that. You know what I mean? Something.
Something, right. This is the time to try to change the narrative if they were going to try to do that. Hopefully these women are able to proceed and continue to share their stories if that's what they're wanting to do. I loosely say hopefully they get justice if they're trying to, actually go all the way to the courts with this.
Mm-hmm.
But I say loosely because what is justice? When it comes to something of that, being sexually assaulted, being sexually harassed,
right.
What is no justice after that? Because you would want it to not have happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I say loosely say justice. So I'm not sure what the outcome would be. Whatever the outcome would be, I would hope that it would benefit those women who were affected. Yeah. I would hope that the people who harassed them or assaulted them recognize what they have done, change their behavior. And people, at least I will say, I don't hear this conversation often, but if people who assaulted or physically harassed someone in that nature, if they were able to reform and share their side of the story as well more, I think that would help this conversation. Mm-hmm. So I never want to say shun you off to the end of the world, because that conversation of the other side of these instances needs to happen as well, because that can change someone who may be on their way to harassing someone else.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I could only hope would happen.
I'm starting to hear what a great guy one of the guys was. I mean, what a great guy, family man, all of that. And I know he hadn't been convicted of anything, but I also know that he's had multiple cases, multiple things, allegations brought against him at various times in his career there. At what point do you stop telling people what a great guy is and literally check into these things and find out if the great guy is having some bad guy moments and address them, properly? Like you said, not trying to cast you into the sea of forgetfulness, but let's get you some help so that you can be the great guy that we all thought you were and knew you to be. There's got to be something. There's got to be something that's meaningful. And that's why I say the NFL has a hard time with these women issues. They allow them to blow up. They make statements. They make promises. And then they go away. And then they go back to their main business. And here we go. We got another team with stuff going on. Another team with stuff going on. And all we hear is what great guys these people were.
Yeah. And that narrative definitely has to change, because when you say someone was a great guy, was it a not great woman? That someone being a great person doesn't negate what happened, because and forgive me, people, you can Google the statistic yourself, but there is a high percentage of people who are sexually harassed or sexually assaulted by someone they know.
Right.
And if that's someone 9 times out of 10, them and they're around you because they're good people.
Right.
So yeah, that narrative and that reason definitely has to change, especially when it's used to try to combat the incident. Yeah. If you're just stating like your experience with someone and it's not trying to negate the incidents, then okay. But I don't like when people are saying, "Oh, well, I've never had that experience with John." Okay,
John ain't never tried to sexually harass me either, but that doesn't mean he didn't try to sexually harass her.
Right.
So, I guess I'm just I am an empath, so I'm trying to figure out how can we fix it for him. And I want that. I mean, it should be fixed. It's, again, I remember going through in corporate America, all of the, the trainings on sexual harassment and all this other stuff. And, if you're not at least doing that, I mean, this, Dan Snyder barely had an HR. He had an HR person, not an HR department. So you don't even have a channel where people can report this stuff and they even have a chance to feel safe. So again, I don't trust that Dan Snyder is the right person to put the plan in place going forward.
Oh, absolutely. Because even when there is a quote unquote checks and balances, so having an HR person, even if they would have had a whole HR department, if the people in the department don't care, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And if no one is there to check them to make sure they care, it doesn't matter. And when I say care, I'm not saying like, oh, you got to sit down and cry or laugh or something with somebody. Care enough to do your job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I won't, this is off of sexual harassment, but just even my own corporate experiences with HR, they ain't care not a one about a Valencia or a King. And for me, having an HR background, my mom, Miss SWK, has over 25 plus years in HR, international HR as well. Yep. And so she knows it. And so I came into it knowing it as well. And I've even had to challenge HR personnel on how to do their job.
Yeah, you don't know what I know. Let me help you.
Come on, somebody. And so yeah, it's even if you have the people around, if there's not a checks and balances to make sure that the job is getting done correctly, but that's a part of deconstructing everything and rebuilding it. So
that's my point. You bring up a very good point. If somebody looks at the paper and they see John Brown, it's like, okay, John's got 15. I got 15 complaints against John in the file. They're not going to do nothing. You're not doing your job. In fact, it should be just the other. Here is another John Brown. I'm going to walk this into Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so's office myself and make sure that they pay attention to this. Hey, I don't know if y'all know it or not, but we got our 15th complaint against John Brown.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do about it? Because something needs to be done. Now you're co-signing with the protection of every woman or person that's been affected by the bad behavior of the good guy named John Brown.
Absolutely. And I'll take it a step further, because even for the HR personnel that do take it up to their bosses or the higher management, and their bosses tell them to mute it and shut it up and shut it down, now you need to go over said person or around said person. And I understand that job security is a thing. I understand that that's a very cautious decision to make. I understand people have families to feed. I understand it. But if you took this job, and if you're in human resources, then your job is to be resourceful for the betterment of the humans. So you need to understand what you signed up for. And if you're not capable of doing that, then step aside and let somebody who is do that. At the bare minimum of humanity is at least showing up for someone else.
Yeah. Let me do it now, because when we come back, we want to talk about what's happening as far as sports go. You've got one sports league that's saying, hey, we're going to push our fall sports off to January. You got another sports league that said, we're not going to have any fans in the stand. But you got another sports team that says, hey, we're planning for 50% of our fans. We're going to talk about that next, right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM.
You're home. You're a diabetic. You need supplies, but you don't want to visit the pharmacy. What do? Call US Med for home delivery of your supplies. If you have diabetes and you're worried about going to a crowded pharmacy, pick up the phone in the safety and comfort of your home and let US Med deliver them to you with free shipping. And now if you test your blood sugar 4 more times a day and inject insulin 3 or more times a day, you may qualify to get a new continuous glucose monitor at little or no cost, which may eliminate the pain of pricking your fingers and helps you make smarter diabetes decisions. Plus, we'll send you a 90-day supply and bill your insurance company for you. Get some peace of mind. Call US Med today.
800-417-0851. 800-417-0851. That's 800-417-0851.
How'd you like to eliminate your expensive cable bill forever or get new satellite internet where cable can't go?
Goodness.
Well, now you can have affordable satellite internet service for a few dollars a day. All you need is a mini satellite installed, and you can have unlimited internet connections wirelessly in your home or office. And no cable boxes means unlimited connections and no clutter. You can surf the internet or stream any of your favorite television services with no cable. Satellite internet service costs only a few dollars a day for your entire home. Yes, fast internet to surf or stream television for a few bucks a day. Call now for free details and learn how to drop your expensive cable bill.
800-712-8044. 800-712-8044. 800.
Okay.
I don't know why what's good for you has to taste so bad. Like you can put a little flavor in it.
712-8044.
A berry or a fruit or something in it.
Having trouble getting focused, getting your
You can flavored water?
Huh?
But it's flavored for smoothie or water?
So it's vitamins mixed into water. I'm one of those kids who don't like the taste of water.
Okay.
I blame one of my grandmama, somebody.
It's life changing.
It's called to inspire.
Right,
Best-selling author and motivational speaker, Dr. Sylvia Cole. Tune in every Tuesday morning at 11 o'clock here on the legendary KYOK. 11:40 a.m., 90.3 FM, and KYOK.org.
This is Brian Courtney Wilson, and you're listening to The Lunch Break.
All right, y'all. We're back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones with Valencia King. I love the I am Valencia King thing. Did you come up with that, or did Shirley Walker King come up with that?
Oh, gosh. It might have been a combination, or it might have just been something I said, and we were like, oh, wait a minute. But I know that I started it initially because someone had Valencia King on Twitter. And then I was like, do I want to go with the Valencia King? Da, da, da. And I was like, I am Valencia King.
I know that's right. I'm so mad because I got like 15 different handles on every different social media website that I don't even remember them. I'm like, what's my password?
Right.
I am AJ Jones on all my stuff, and just do it like that. So, all right, Valencia.
Okay.
NFL opened up training camp yesterday
for
rookies for the Texans and Kansas City. They came in, they took a COVID test, they had a little bit of an orientation, and then they went home. Today, they're back in to take another COVID test and then do a little bit more orientation, and then they'll probably go home. All of that was going on while the NFL had no plan in place because Drew Brees, Malcolm Jenkins, J.J. Watt, a whole bunch of folks were like, yo, what's your plan? Well, what are we doing? So they now say they're not going to play any preseason games.
Okay.
They're going to do daily testing during camp. We don't know if that's going to change during the season, but they're going to do daily testing during camp. And the New York Jets and the New York Giants came out and said, we're not going to have fans in any at any of our games, just to be safe. Owner of the Raiders said that if the fans can't come, I ain't coming. Okay. You got the SWAC that have pushed their football season off until January. They're going to play about 7-8 games. But then you have UT, who says, hey, we're going to have 50% capacity in our stadium. Our stadium holds about 100,000. That's like 50,000 people.
Yeah.
And they said, we talked to the governor of Texas.
Oh, yeah.
That's more than enough social distancing. We're going to die, aren't we?
Don't put that juju on me. Some of them might.
Okay, they don't die.
Right.
What in the world?
Listen, it's unfortunate, and it's also, again, not shocking. The governor, Greg Abbott, was done for a long time ago. It's just been extra prevalent at this moment. And I believe it was Lieutenant Dan Patrick who was like, initially, grandparents are willing to die to save the economy. No. So none of this is
your
shocking.
Grandparents might be, but
right. And I believe yesterday you and David were talking about this with the owner, saying, he's got his own secret hallway to get to his own secret press box to get to his own secret area. So when you say if their fans aren't there, you're not going to be there. You're not going to be with the fans anyway. Because there's a difference between sitting with the fans and sitting in your own isolated area.
Right.
And unfortunately, also with UT, those 50,000 people will show up if you let them.
I know. And at first I was trying to say 50,000 students, but it's more than students. You got Todd Malcolm, he ain't no student. He going to be down there. Keith Hennick says, he talked about that. Keith Hennick is a big UT fan. I don't want him down there. You're going to have 50,000 people who can get whatever and go back and infect 50,000 plus more folks who didn't care anything about a football game.
Because I would love to see how they plan to enforce the social distancing, because if you're going to cut it in half, that means you do have the space to social distance. But let me see you control a group of some rowdy fans. Let me see you do it.
Supposedly they got it all figured out in that big old stadium by having it half full. And of course, what's the first line of the article? Because UT would have a hard time if they didn't have the revenue from college football.
Oh, we all know what the bottom line is. We all know that. And that's why even it's kind of in line with colleges saying that they're not decreasing their tuition, even if they're going to be all virtual. You should.
I was going to say, I'm not using any water. I'm not using any air. I'm not using any electricity.
You don't even got to cut the grass. Nobody gonna be there. So yeah, I mean, we know what the bottom line is.
So I need a little money coming my way for taking this class for y'all, from y'all.
Exactly. We know what the bottom line is. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And sometimes that's enough, or most of the time that is enough moving factor to get people to do some unrealistic things.
So let's sum this all up. You got basketball that's getting ready to start. In fact, preseason starts Thursday, right?
Yes.
Okay. In fact, the Spurs are going to play who Thursday? Let me talking points. Spurs will be in action Thursday. They are going to take on Milwaukee at 2:00. The Mavericks are going to take on the Lakers. That'll be a little something to see.
Maybe, because we don't know who's all going to play in those preseason.
Well, I know what Mike D'Antoni's going to do. He's going to run his boys because Mike don't know. Mike don't know no other way. He don't know how to substitute. He don't know how to use the bench. So the Rockets are going to take on Toronto Friday at 6:30. So they're going to start on the 30th and the 31st. Baseball is going to start officially on Friday. Football is supposedly going to start in August. Yes or no? Are all these leagues going to get started? Yes or no?
Oh, I'm going to say yes because of the bottom line.
Okay.
Now, I think it'll be a little bit more interesting with football to see them start and finish because there's just more players you have to deal with.
So I'm just focused on start right now. So
okay.
And college football going to start first weekend in September. Going to start?
In Texas, they will for sure.
Yeah.
Around the world.
Ain't no doubt. And Texas, I'll even venture Texas and Alabama.
Yes.
Now let's get to the next question.
Okay.
Finishing. Be specific.
Okay.
Which league, NBA, baseball, NFL, college football has the best chance to not finish?
The best chance to not finish. I want to say it would be college football, but they also have the most motivated people behind them to do it.
See, I'm with you kind of on college because if something happens to one of those kids, it's to me going to be harder to just press ahead when something happened to one or a few of these kids.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I see them shutting college down before I see them shutting one of the other sports leagues down.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like you hit the nail on the head because they're still students. They're still young and their professional careers haven't really begun. It's going to be more of a drastic shock if like, what? Not little Johnny.
Yes. And heaven forbid, but especially if they got the right mama or daddy, that's not going to be quiet. That's not going to go away. That's going to be on every, you name it. Talking about, they done done something to my child. They should have known better.
Right mom, right dad, or right booster backing.
Right. Absolutely. What do you think would be second? What do you think would be second? Most likely to not finish?
I would say baseball, just because I feel as though the players have been a little bit more vocal for a longer period of time. I feel as though with the NFL, we're only just now hearing about them voicing their concerns, at least publicly. Maybe they've been talking to the NFL and they haven't seen anything, and that's why they're on Twitter now. Okay. But I feel like baseball has been a little bit more like, y'all sure? You all right?
Swallow it wrong. It's a shame when you cough, you gotta tell people why you're coughing.
Oh, of course.
All right, so I'm gonna do a rank and rate.
Okay.
Football number one.
Mm-hmm. I'm not finishing. I say baseball second.
MLB.
Then I would go of not finishing. I think the NBA is going to finish, but because of the NFL, I would put the NBA not finishing before the NFL. Like the NFL is pretty much like, no, we going, whether y'all coming with us or not. And even though the NBA has definitely more grounds to stand on just because of the simple determination of the NFL, and by determination, sometimes I mean stupidity, right. They're like not going to let it fall for nothing.
My lists are almost the same as yours, but I flip-flop the NFL and basketball. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
College football, again, something happened to one of those kids, they might take that out of their control to be able to go forward. Major League Baseball has a stronger union than any of the major sports. Major League Baseball's union, if those players decide, we're not going to do this no more, even after they started, it will get shut down.
Right.
It will get shut down. But number three, I've got the NFL because so many players, 17 games, because they were playing the 17-game season this year, right?
That's to my knowledge, yeah.
Okay. You got more opportunities for more stuff to go wrong. Like you said, you got probably more supporters to let them keep going, even if it goes wrong. But I just feel like you got more to go wrong. Basketball's got to get through 8 regular season games, got to get through their playoffs, and then, they're done until they decide to start again. So I just feel like fewer opportunities are going to give them fewer things that can go wrong, and they may be able to maneuver their way, and they're in the bubble, and they're in a controlled environment. And, for the first time, they had no positive tests on COVID-19. We don't even know how many positive tests they're going to have in the NFL because they're just figuring out who to test. They're just beginning to test. So I feel like basketball will get the benefit of the doubt because they got fewer opportunities and they got a more controlled environment, if you will.
Absolutely. And I definitely see it. I think it could have gone either way for sure. But you're right. And that's initially why I was thinking football wouldn't have a chance, just because, like you said, more opportunities and more players.
Yeah.
Larger areas. And when you have more players, that means you have more staff.
Right.
So yeah, there's just a lot of room for something to happen. And you have to put a lot of trust in people to abide by whatever rules you put into place.
Yep.
And if they won't abide by the rules of don't put your hands on people you shouldn't, don't go places you shouldn't be, don't take substances you shouldn't take. If they want to abide by those rules on occasions,
all of a sudden they're going to abide by these. And they won't be sequestered. They won't be quarantined. They will be come and go, which is why I said there's no way the NFL can get by without daily testing. Like, how you going to let folks go home, do whatever, with whomever, wherever, if they even go home, and then come back and be all right? Just negative yesterday don't mean they're going to be negative today.
Exactly, which I understand why they would need fans, because testing is not inexpensive, and especially for those amount of players and staff. So I understand why you want the fans. You need the money. But to me, it just shows how much they're willing to risk their fans, their fan base, just so that they can get the revenue. Because you best believe they selling them tickets is going to be the same little disclaimer that the president had. It's saying you can't sue me.
Yeah, that's the part right there. It's safe. Don't worry about it, but you can't sue me.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you got to sign this disclaimer. Valencia King, host of The Dialogue on IGTV, several other things she does, Real Talk Sports and Real Talk, if you could only have one of those 4 major sports, you can only have one of them. All the other ones are going to sit out until we get COVID fixed. Which one would you say you had to have?
I mean, personally, basketball has been my favorite sport, but I would be comfortable going without it. As a fan, as a journalist, obviously it'd be a little tougher, but because I'm not willing to, I'm not in the bubble. I know it was an option for media to be there. It's not an option for Valencia.
Right.
So I understand if all of them said no, because I said no too. And I'm saying no just off of, Valencia. Obviously I have, my parents' family, but I don't have my own family. So it's like those players that have their own families and are still, willing to make that sacrifice and take that risk. So I respect it, but I understand if nobody would have said yes.
Right.
And so for me, I would choose to have basketball, but at the same time, I would be okay with none of it, because I would completely understand. As I've always said, since we've been in pandemic, I've never been in pandemic world before, so there's no real rules here. You just got to get by.
All right, so let me put you more on the spot. You had to attend as a journalist to cover one of those 4 sports. Had to, no other option.
Okay.
Which one would you feel safest covering?
By where everything stands right now, it would be the NBA, just because they've shown me that they care. I think it would be more interesting to cover college, to see, really, to be able to tell that story, because the NCAA is a story in itself. So when you add a pandemic on top of that, I think that would be the more interesting story to, you know, be able to share the dynamics that they would go through to get all of that ready. So yeah, it would be either NBA or the NCAA for sure.
Okay, that's interesting because the NCAA would be a no-go for me just from a standpoint, like they just don't seem like they have any concern for social distancing protocols, testing. We just we need the money, we gonna play.
That's why the story would be great.
Right. I'll let you cover that one. I might get in that bubble because it just seems like the bubble is good. I'll stay away from Dwight Howard. But I'm going to be in the bubble. I'm going to be leaning my forehead to everybody with something that looks like a monitor. So, but if I had to cover one, I feel like the spacing would be better NFL-wise, but I can't get past the controlled environment that the NBA has in place right now. Major League Baseball, I don't know what they're doing. They going home to their families too. They going home doing all kinds of wilding out for all we know too. So, and I'm not that interested in covering their story. So,
right.
Probably be by default. It would probably be the NBA.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned the spacing with the NFL. To me, the spacing is not great because of the way, and I can only say from the locker rooms that I've been in, whenever they do media, it's always.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna slide my monitor, my recorder in there. Y'all give it back and wait for me to spray it real good. Hold on.
Yeah, and even if they were to change, like I remember, we were covering the Dallas Mavericks the last game of the season before everything shut down, and during that halftime and when we came back to the media room, everything was roped off. We were like, they didn't even know the 6 feet rule at the time, but we were more than 6 feet apart. And we kind of had the chairs a little bit more spacious in there. They had, got that together. So I know the media would look different, but just the NFL off of their original stance of how they do media, none of it is really spacious. They always have one player by a wall or in the corner and a herd around them. And none of that seems appealing.
Right. And I would see them having to get the media out of the media room and putting them in the actual stadium distance, open air, open that doggone roof up, and kind of do it like they do during the Super Bowl.
Right.
Put players down in an open area and only so many media people per player pod, if you will. If they're not doing that kind of stuff, it's just willy nilly. It's just too willy nilly.
Yeah, no, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm also thinking of the access, because, and this is my own personal experience, the NFL access to players and interviews is not great. It's really kind of, it's just not great. So I'm thinking of in a pandemic kind of situation, they would do even more limited access. So even if I had, a player, because my niche, if you will, has always been talking to, rookies and vets and just, players that maybe don't always get their story told. And so those requests would fall upon deaf ears. Even though to me, those are the easiest people to get. It takes you
there. He's like right there. Can you just move? Let me go talk to you. We got one last break. Let me take that. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up right here on our Team Texas Tuesday. I've got Valencia King, host of The Dialogue, joining me right now on the lunch break. We'll be right back with more right after this on the legendary KYOK.
A job recently, and now you can't afford your mortgage payment? Or do you have a rental property and your tenants aren't paying you? Quick Cash Offer can come to the rescue and pay you cash for your home immediately. Yes, sell your home and get cash all over the phone without dealing with real estate agents and risking your safety by showing your home to lukewarm buyers. You don't need to lose your home to foreclosure. If you have any equity in your home, we will buy it and give you cash within days, all in a simple over-the-phone and virtual process. Call Quick Cash Offer now before the economy gets worse. Sell a home you can't afford or just don't want to get the cash you need today.
800-780-1431. 800-780-1431. 800-780-1431. That's 800-780-1431.
Hey,
Hey, this is Tori and Terry, and we're with a new show on the legendary KYOK called Marriage Talk with Tori and Terry.
Yes, that's Saturdays at 1 p.m. Marriage Talk with us. You can call in and talk with us about your marriage questions, engagement, relationship questions. We're here to assist you. Saturdays at 1 p.m.
And that's on the legendary KYOK 1140 AM and 92.3 FM.
Talk to you then.
Beautiful people, this is Major. This is why I love you. On the lunch break.
All right, y'all, we're back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. Just got some breaking news. UIL says that high school football will be played this fall, according to a release. Let's see. The announcement comes one day after California high schools delayed the start of their high school football schedule until December or January. Let's see, the fall schedule won't be uniform as it has been over the past. However, conferences 1A through 4A may begin practices on August the 3rd and games on August the 27th. And conferences 5A and 6A, which tend to be more densely populated, will delay their season by a month. Schools classified as 5A and 6A can begin their practices on September the 7th and games on September the 24th. Valencia. Makes sense?
I mean, I don't know if this will align, AJ, but you let me know. You did say on a different topic that you wanted the da-da-da-da-da. That sounds like the da-da-da-da-da.
Just footnote, section A, little A, right down there. Don't listen to me. I don't everything. Don't listen to me. I mean, that's da. But come on. For real? You just said it earlier. We playing football, but I can't even wear my hair past my shoulders.
Yeah. I mean, did we expect anything different? Honestly.
I guess I keep holding out some kind of hope. Somebody with some common sense is just going to say, listen, I know what they're saying up there in Washington, but what we're going to do down here in Texas is this right here.
Yeah. I mean, Texas did try to be its own outside of America. So, I mean, it's rooted in history.
I just don't understand. All right, let me hit a couple quick things before we go.
Okay, let's go.
Michael Bennett is retired. He played most recently with the Cowboys from this Houston area, played at A-Leaf Taylor, he and his brother, Martellus. Good thing, bad thing?
We're in a pandemic, so you got to do what's best for you.
And that's what I think. I think that's part of it. You know.
Absolutely. I mean, at this point, like I said earlier, I'm not going to judge anyone's decisions, like when it comes to your career, because we're in pandemic world and none of us have been here before. So if that's what you want to do, if that's what's best for you and your family and you and yours, even if that's just what's best for you, then you got to do it. So I definitely understand it.
Gotcha. And Dr. Anthony Fauci is going to be throwing out the very first pitch to start the 2020 Major League Baseball season with the New York Yankees and the defending World Series champions, the Washington Nationals. How come they didn't get the president to do that?
He was busy being the president and whatnot. He gotta sign executive orders. He gotta tell people to drink bleach. He gotta just do some things. He was busy, AJ. He was busy. But with Dr. Fauci, is this game gonna have the fans? Because if he's there and it has the fans, is that him subconsciously saying it's safe, or is he saying it's not? Like, where I'm a little disaligned here.
You bring up some valid points, because if there are fans in the stands, which I don't think there will be.
Okay.
I don't think there will be. But if there are fans in the stands and he down there, he ain't got on no mask, and he just grabbing the ball that somebody gave him, he didn't sanitize it before he threw it, and the catcher didn't sanitize. I'm gonna be a little shady.
Yeah, I need to see how this plays out. I have questions, just because he set such a precedent for himself. I got to look at these surroundings. are you sending mixed messages, or are you subconsciously telling us it's okay?
Like eyeballing the first pitch of a Major League Baseball game that does not include the teams that I normally follow.
Right. But that's what we do in pandemic world. We do things we never would have thought we would do.
That's what we got to do. There was something else. I don't remember what it was. We did UT. We did NFL players. We did the Tech. Child, listen. What you got coming up? What you working on?
Well, tonight we are back with another great episode of The Dialogue, and this episode, right? Whoa, is featuring an amazing journalist. Her name is Miss Dorothy Gentry. She always says her and Alvin Gentry are cousins from the NBA. And so she is a journalist. She does she contributes for the WNBA and the NBA with Texas Metro News, the Garland News here locally, the Athletic for the WNBA as well. And so she's got credits on credits, but she is also an amazing mom. Her son is going off to college. Wherever you go off to college nowadays, this upcoming fall, and she is also a teacher.
Okay.
So I'll be talking to her about previewing what the Dallas Mavs may be looking like on Thursday against the Lakers. We'll be talking about her teaching side because, as we know, schools are up in the air on if they're going to be in person or not. So I'll be getting a real life teacher's opinion. Yeah.
I'll be tuned in because I want to hear what she has to say. In fact, my daughter's school district is having a meeting as we speak. So I'm going to jump off of here and tune into that because I need to know what they're doing so I can determine what I'm doing. You see what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. And I'll say this. I think I said it when we were on the show last together. If the meeting to decide if it's safe to go to school is still via Zoom, then that means it's not safe to go to school.
I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, exactly. So the dialogue will be happening on my Instagram, which is right there on the screen at I am Valencia King. Tonight's a special time at 6:30 p.m. and so Central Standard Time. And so that'll be happening on my Instagram live. And we talked a little bit earlier about the episodes we've been doing, honoring fathers and just sports talk and everything of that nature. All of that can be seen on my IGTV right now as well. And you'll find the latest and the greatest all right there.
All right there.
Yeah.
Astros up 3-0 on Kansas City. Obviously, the Astros got some of that good barbecue I was talking about because they slugging a little bit right now. But again, this is preseason action. We'll see what they do on Friday. Valencia, thank you so much. We appreciate you so much. Tell the whole fam I said, what up?
I absolutely will do. And if you're looking for a virtual presenter for your youth group or organization, holla at your girl because I do that too. Okay.
Absolutely. Y'all hit her up at I am Valencia. What's your website?
ValenciaKing.com.
ValenciaKing.com.
Mm-hmm. But if you... Right, but my contact is on every single one of my bios. So if you find me on social media, you'll still find my contact because I need you to find me. I need you to be able to find me and connect.
I literally might take you up on that because I'm ready to start doing some things. We've been doing virtual church, but now we're ready to get our ministries back engaged. And if we got to do those virtually, guess what? You'll be the one talking to our youth and our young adults. So.
Hey, I'm excited too because there was already, I know we got to wrap up, but there was already a lot of things that the kids were going through in person school, but now that it's going to potentially be virtual and just them being in a pandemic and them not being able to see their friends 5 times out the day like they're used to, these kids and these students or these youth and young adults are going through things as well. And so we definitely need to have those conversations.
Yeah, I highly recommend her. So if you need somebody to really infuse some life and some positivity into your youth, your young adults, there she is right there. I am Valencia King. And thank you again. I appreciate you. Love you to life. You hear me?
Yes, indeed. To life, baby.
All right. I'll talk to you soon. Y'all, we got to get ready to go. Of course, we've got none other than, what's her name? Sybil Wilkes coming up with her COVID-19 update. After that, it will be Donnie McClurkin and the Donnie McClurkin Show. He'll give you the best in gospel music, latest in the gospel music industry. As always, let's not be divided. Let's be united. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it except wash your hands 20 seconds or more. Wear your mask. It's not going to kill you. You'll be all right. And sanitize everything around you. And do me a favor, be sensitive to everyone around you. Give them 6 feet. And when you see that racism, what am I going to tell you to do? Kill it. Not the person. kill the racism. All right? Hey, until tomorrow, we'll be back with David Grubb and Kelsey Nicole Nelson. And I got a great show scheduled for you on Thursday and Friday. So it's all happening right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know today about the coronavirus. Lawmakers.
All right, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Valencia King is one of my absolute favorites. And it's not because I call her my niece. She's just that great. She can flow on anything that we do. That's why I was surprised. We hit everything that I had kind of worked on from a talking point today. So y'all support that young lady. We got so many amazing young people doing amazing things. And this one is right here in our midst. It doesn't take much to do. Follow her on social media, Instagram, those kind of things. Look at what she's doing, support it, like it, and tell people about it. And then, like she said, if you've got a youth group or young adult group that you can get her to talk to virtually, she's phenomenal. I highly recommend her. And again, y'all, I appreciate everything that y'all do as lunch breakers. Look, not this, definitely this. Y'all be safe. We'll talk to you tomorrow, okay?